Hey, what is up guys? It's Vinit Designs here with a brand new video. So today we're going to be doing a new video on my new channel, Vinit Panwala, and the series is called The Creative Crate, and this is supposed to be my podcast. So if you guys cannot watch this video, you can also listen on Spotify, Anchor, and some other platforms as well. So you can listen there, and let's get started. So in the first episode, we're going to be talking about should you go to design school or not, and the pros and cons of it. I personally have gone to school for it for 3 years, and so I kind of know, or I do know what it's like to go to design school and come out, and what I feel, what my experience was. So I'm going to be giving you a few advices on whether you should go to design school or not. And there's actually a lot of debate going on and has been going on over the years about school and whether it's a good option for you to go after high school or not. And that really depends on what you're trying to go for. Sure, if you want to become a doctor or a lawyer or some sort of profession where you require a diploma or a degree, then sure, you can go ahead and go to school for it. But things like design, videography, film, photography, those are more creative things, some things that you can really learn on your own. And the biggest thing I should really ask you is why. Like, ask yourself why. Actually, why do you want to go to school for design? Do you think you're going to be getting a better education by going to school? Do you think you're going to be learning better there? Are you the one who wants to go to school for design, or is someone else making you go? And that voice could be your parents, it could be your other family members, your siblings, that have told you that you need to go to school for design or any other career field. My quick answer is that you should not go to school for design, but you can. The thing about this is your choice. You can do anything you want. You can either take this advice or not and listen to your families or your own advice, but you really need to understand a few things. Try to listen to what I'm saying and take into consideration some of the cons and pros of going to school for design. Another question I want to ask you is, do you think you can learn a different way? Especially in the creative industry, there are a lot of options like video courses, podcasts, blogs, social media postings, and mentor options. And I'll get back into that later on and give you different options for what you can do if you don't want to go to school for design. But I want you to ask yourself this, and the reason why I'm asking you is because people learn differently. Some people may prefer to go to school and sit down in a classroom and listen to lectures, and others may not. And that really depends on how you learn. And like I said before, you can go, but you don't need to go to school for design. And I'll tell you a reason why. So why not? First of all, it's really expensive. If you're going to school for design or any other university or college program, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars every year. Not even just the tuition, possibly books, food expenses, living costs if you're going to be moving out to a further location. It's stressful. One thing I really learned quickly from day one was that it's very stressful. You have to be constantly working on projects, deadlines that you have to meet, and there's no saying no or I'll do it later or canceling the project. There's no way of getting away with it. You can't really say no to it. Another reason why it's stressful is that you have to pass. If you don't pass a class, obviously you're going to have to retake it, and that's something you don't want to go through, especially when you're paying for that class. Another reason is that it's very long. It can take 3 to 4 years for you to complete this program, and for me it took 3 years. And depending on where you go, it could be 4 years, it could be 5 years, right? Depending on what program or what school you go to. And that brings us back to the stress and the cost of going to school. If you're going to be in school for a longer period of time, then you're going to be paying more as well. So keep that in mind. It's going to be very costly. Another reason why I say not to go to school for design is that it's very exhausting, especially when you take into consideration that you're going to be working possibly part-time to get the money, maybe even getting loan, and you have that just the thought in the back of your head that you're going to have to repay all this money. And it's, again, stressful, so you're going to be constantly worried about your marks, your grades, your future career if you don't pass or if you don't succeed. I'm not trying to bash on design school or school in general, but there are a lot of things, like I mentioned, that will affect your mind and your creativity, especially because even though you are in school of design, you're going to be forced to learn a lot of rules and you're going to be constrained into that box. And obviously you can break those later on, but it's tough because once you're in that mindset of constantly looking at grids or paragraph styles and all these design fundamentals, you're going to be forced to constantly go back to those and not be creative or find new ways to come out with a unique design. So I can go on for hours talking about the reasons why you should not go to school for design, but I think you got the picture of what I'm trying to say. But I just want to clarify a few things and also mention a few pros of going to school for design, because I don't think I really clarified those things. But there are a lot of pros to going to school for design. The reason why I said not to is because there are things like stress, anxiety, the cost of living, the tuition, things like that will obviously be a big factor in whether you go to school or not. But things like learning actual design fundamentals, the skills you need to actually be successful in the design industry, you do need to learn that, and you will gain that from school. And it really depends on you. Like I mentioned before, it's on how you learn. Do you want to go for the experience? Because now school does bring a lot of value in terms of experience. It gave me the opportunity to network and meet new people in the industry through an internship, which was offered through the school program. So being able to meet new people, learn hands-on, and learning the discipline of working independently or in a group is very essential, and things like that will actually be valuable. So even if you don't go to school for design, you need to make sure you learn those things on your own. And when I said that you're going to be forced to learn design fundamentals like typography rules, things like that, you obviously need to learn those to be a very good designer. And that's the whole reason why school teaches you those things. And even if you don't go, you need to make sure you learn those things through books or any other method that you prefer. And that's where the flexibility of not going to school comes in, is that when you don't go, you have the option of learning in a different way, and not be forced to read a book or sit in a classroom and listen to a 2 or 3 hour lecture. So really understand yourself. You need to be self-aware of how you learn. Also, for those who are listening into the podcast and can't see the actual video, I'm putting up information on the screen. So make sure you check out my YouTube video for this podcast, and make sure you look at the description also for additional links to resources such as blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos, and courses that you can access later on. Let's go into different options you have if you do decide not to go to school. I'll give you a few options. Some of them are paid and some of them are free. So first of all, let's start with free options, because I know a lot of you are either broke or not able to afford a very expensive method of learning. And I understand why, because as students or as people getting out of high school, for example, you're not able to afford a lot of things. And so first option is YouTube videos and tutorials, and that's the best way I personally find you can learn on your own, mainly because you have more control over when you can learn or when you can watch those videos. You can watch either one video a day, 2, 3, 10, 100, and that really depends on your time and your schedule. And they're all completely free, so you don't have to pay a single penny. And obviously some of the creators will offer their personal courses that they created. The next option is blogs. Some of you may find it boring to read blogs, and that's completely fine. But those of you who do like reading, blogs are a great way to learn, and there are a lot of options online. You can search design blogs or graphic design blogs. And if you're in a different field, I know this is about design, but if you are a photographer or videographer, there are blogs for that too. And you can sign up for monthly newsletters or weekly newsletters that are sent to your email, and you can read those as well. There are a lot of people who create free content that are tailored to graphic design, business of design, and you can get some very useful information, and it's all for free. And for those who like to listen, because listening is a great way to learn as well, and podcasting, which I'm doing at the moment, is a perfect way to learn on your own time. You can be listening while you're in a car, while you're driving to work, for example. So it's a great way to multitask. You can learn by listening to people in the industry who have more experience than you. And this is essentially being in a classroom where a more experienced individual like a professor or a mentor is talking to you, and you can just listen and possibly even take notes. It's a perfect way to keep track of things you're watching and listening. And another option you have is to take an internship. And there's another debate that goes on around internships, is that should you be working for free as a creative? And the answer is yes, you should be. And Obviously, you want to get paid in the future, but as you are just starting out, especially if you're not going to school for design, you need to be getting into the industry and getting your name out, networking, and learning hands-on. So an internship is perfect, especially because a lot of these ad agencies or companies are looking for students or people who are just starting out, because they obviously don't want to pay a lot of money and you need the experience. So you have to balance those two, whether or not you want to get paid or not. That's something you can think about later. But start with YouTube videos, blogs, podcasts, and then possibly get into an internship if you can. For those of you who do want to spend money on learning graphic design, there are paid options like online courses. Online courses are great because they are similar to almost like a classroom curriculum, but it's more cost efficient because you're not paying for a lot of the materials or physical spaces that schools require you to pay for. Online courses are more flexible because you can pay for certain courses that you want to take. In school, you're going to be forced to take courses that you don't like or that you are not going to be learning a lot from. And I had to go through that. I took a lot of courses or some courses that were not very valuable. And online courses give you more flexibility because you can choose what classes you want to take and what courses to enroll in. The next option is books. Books is obviously not the most fun way to learn design or graphic design, but I'm sure a lot of people will find this valuable because there are things you won't really learn from just looking at design. And there are some things like typography guidelines or terminology or how to use a grid system, things like that. Maybe even art history, design history, things like that will kind of help you move into a better direction as to what style of design you want to do. So in school, I had to take a design culture class. Essentially, that's history for design. And we were taught the history of design, different art styles or design styles that other artists in the past have used, and where we can go to find inspiration. The last option for paid learning I'll give you is mentorship. Now, this is not the easiest way to learn, especially because you need a mentor first of all, right? And you may already know somebody that's working in the industry and you can reach out and have them teach you. But this is not easy because you're going to have to be setting up a time with this person and have a schedule based on both of your schedules. But there are a lot of advantages to this because it's one-on-one. So you're going to have a better connection with this person and you can ask better questions and learn very quickly. A mentorship is similar to an internship, and this can go hand in hand because you couldn't possibly find a mentor at an internship. And a mentor, I personally did not have a mentor, but I had several mentors, and they were my professors or colleagues from my internship and even friends and classmates. So anyone pretty much in the design industry are your mentors. You can't really find one specific person that you're gonna call a mentor. I'm constantly learning from different people, and you may find somebody specifically that is your mentor and you can learn from them. So hopefully I was able to give you a decent idea as to what the School of Design is like and the reasons why you shouldn't go and why you can go if you do prefer to go and learn through school. The final decision is obviously up to you. I felt like I needed to get this out and get this to my audience and just people that I know, because people are wanting to go to school for design or videography and they don't realize that they can learn for free and on their own, and they have so many other options, and that you don't need a degree to be able to get a job in this industry. Don't make your decision right away. Think about it. Rewatch this video if you need to. Keep in mind some of the points I made. If you are still in high school or still deciding whether you want to go to school, try out the free options. There's no harm in trying out a free video on YouTube and learning. There's no harm in listening to a podcast or reading a blog or going to an internship and possibly even getting hired on the spot. If you did find this video helpful and you learned something out of it or even got more comfortable with your decision making, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you guys thought, and also share it with your friends and family. You may know somebody else that is deciding to go to school for design or a creative industry, and this video might help them save a lot of money and time. And those of you who are listening into the podcast, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. There are a lot more videos and podcast ideas I have in mind. So if you want to keep in touch with me, or if you want to follow my behind the scene work, or if you want to follow my work, you can also follow me on Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel where I do design tutorials and speed arts and other design related videos. So if you guys do want to check it out, follow me on Instagram as well. It's Vinit Panwala or Vinit Designs. I have two. One is for design, one is for videography and my personal blog. And you have more resources in the stories that I'll be sharing. So go ahead and follow those, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.